What's up, you guys? I'm Jasper, and this is JJ Vids. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a review on this 2021 Kia K5. And for those of you who may not know what the Kia K5 is, all this car is right here is the successor to what we all previously knew as the Kia Optima. And the Kia Optima has been in production since the model year 2001, which means that this car right here has been in the production run for over 20 years. But in the model year 2020, Kia decided to do a full redesign on this platform right here, going as far as redoing the full exterior, interior, and even going as far as changing the name from Kia Optima to Kia K5. So now I'm going to be doing a review of this car, so stay tuned. Over some facts of the Kia K5. To begin with, this car is offered in two different engine specifications. The first engine you get to choose from is a 1.6 liter four-cylinder producing about 180 horsepower. And then the second engine specification you can choose is a 2.5 liter four-cylinder producing about 290 horsepower. And that engine is only offered in the GT model. This model right here is an LXX, which makes this one of the more base model type of cars. But taking a look at the exterior of this car, this is a huge departure from what the Kia Optima was. And I want to start off by going on the front right here and looking at this grille, because this grille kind of looks like Killer Croc and looks a little bit funky. But if you look at it from the side right here, the headlight is really cool. This headlight, this is the turn signal right here, and it has like this crazy squiggly effect right here, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look at the side of the Kia K5 to where we could really tell where this redesign takes place right here. And I think the biggest contribution of this redesign that really departs it from what the Kia Optima was is this roof line right here, how it slopes down in the back. The Kia Optima looked a lot more like a sedan, where this thing looks a lot more like a fastback or a hatchback. And I think it's a really cool design. And actually, this doesn't have a hatchback, it still has a trunk, but the design in the back makes it look like the whole glass actually lifts up with the car, which is a pretty cool design and a pretty big departure from what the Kia Optima previously was. But now, let's look back here at the rear, where we could see we got these fake exhaust tips, which I'm not really too big of a fan of, but it's kind of a sleek design, I guess. But I guess the biggest part about the rear would be this light bar right here, because the Kia Optima did not have a light bar. And with the Kia K5, I guess Kia really wanted to go with the modern times of, you know, how everyone's going with light bars nowadays. Kia didn't want to miss that boat either, but Kia actually did something a little bit different from what all the other manufacturers do with their light bars. And that's this right here. As you can see, the light bar kind of breaks up when you turn it on at night. This isn't one full solid light bar. It's actually kind of partitioned up, and it's kind of a different take at this light bar. And I actually like it because nobody has done this before, and it's kind of a cool touch on the rear right here. Up and open the hood of the K5, this is the engine. So like I said before, there's two different engine specifications we can have for this car, a 1.6 liter four-cylinder and a 2.5 liter four-cylinder. This is the 1.6 four-cylinder, and this produces 180 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. I know it's a little bit dirty, but hey, it's a daily driver, what are you going to do? And it purrs like a kitten, it's very quiet, and you also have these nice hydraulic struts right here to keep the hood nice and open for you. A lot of the Toyotas and Hondas don't have those hydraulic struts right there. So closing this back up, I mean, as you guys can tell, this car has a lot of fit and finishes that Toyotas and Hondas, you know, at $5,000, $10,000 more price points, don't even come standard with, that this car does, which is really why I think this car is such a good bargain. So let's open up the door of the Kia K5 and take a look at the interior, and let's start off with the door panel right here. So just taking a look at this, the first impression I have is this speaker cover right here, and I think it's a really cool looking speaker cover, and this is kind of something that Mercedes-Benz would do. It's not quite as nice as what would be in a C-Class or anything like that, but it looks really nice, and I think it contrasts well with the overall door panel. And all the material down here, it's a bit plasticky, you know, considering the fact that this is a $24,000 starting price car. I mean, all of this is pretty acceptable for that price point. But we got a little bit of fake leather here, which is pretty comfortable for laying your hand on. And then we got this carbon fiber trimming right here, which is a bit fake, but it still looks nice, and I still think it contrasts the interior well. And I also like the silver line right here as well. If it was a fully blacked out panel, I don't think it would look as good. I think Kia did a pretty good job contrasting the silver door handles, side striping, and then the little things they got going on with the window switches right here. I think it contrasts on the door panel well. Closing the door on this, let's take one more look at these window switches right here. You know, pushing this window switch down or up, this switch feels like quality. It doesn't feel rinky-dink or plasticky or wiggly. It actually feels like a quality button, and that's not something I could say about the Toyota Camry or Honda Accord, which would technically be the competition for this car right here. And that's where I really think the Kia K5 has a big leading edge over those two cars, just because of the fit and finish of all the things that you touch in this car. They just feel better and they feel more quality. And you know, that even goes into the climate control right here. If you touch any of these buttons, you know, everything feels nice. It doesn't feel wiggly or anything like that. It feels quality and it feels good. And that's something I really like about this interior on this K5. Now, let's take a look at the infotainment system and gauge cluster right here, but starting with the infotainment system, where if you touch anything on this, it's right away intuitive, responsive, up to date. This thing feels like it's a brand new iPhone or smartphone. It's just as fast. It's not like older Kia models where you kind of touch the screen, you have to wait a half a second for it to respond and do its thing. This thing is responsive and it's up to date. Very, very nice. But taking a look at this gauge cluster right here, it's a pretty simple gauge cluster. You have your tachometer, you have your speedometer, fuel gauge, and then temperature, and then your middle screen right here is going to show you your different drive modes, which could be controlled via this little switch in the middle of the center console right here. But this switch can basically, you can control this from 3 different drive modes. You have smart mode, which changes even this right here, smart mode. Then you have normal mode, which is just the regular driving mode. Then you have sport mode, which if you want to drive a little bit faster, that's the mode for you. And then custom is if you want to, you know, kind of mix and match your modes to kind of make your own custom mode. But this smart mode right here would technically be the eco mode. And that's honestly the mode I would be driving this car most of the time, because this is technically an economy car, and I would be trying to squeeze any last gas mileage I can get out of this car if I were to be driving this right here. I'm going to look right under the climate control right here. This car does come standard with 2 USB ports and the 12-volt cigarette lighter. So very convenient if you have smartphones or any devices or anything like that. You're not going to have to have the cigarette lighter adapter to the USB thing. I mean, everything just comes right here standard. Very nice and easy. Now hopping into the back seat of this thing, I'm going to take a seat in this. This thing actually has pretty adequate room back here. I'm 6 foot tall and I have pretty good headroom right here. I can lay back. My legs have a lot of room in front of them right here, and this seat is in a normal seating position. And it's actually a bit farther back than it's supposed to be, and I still have room back here, which is very nice. It's a full-size sedan, and you could fit a full family in here, no problem. And then looking over here, we also have this nice center armrest with 2 cup holders, and then we also have 4 cup holders, 1 cup holder in each door, in the rear, and then also in the front as well, which is really nice, really practical car. And because this is an LXS model, we do have cloth interior in this, but if you do upgrade to the GT model with the bigger motor, that does come with a full leather interior, and it is a bit nicer in the interior. But honestly, this thing is pretty nice for what it is. It looks like a really good car. And you know, they did carry that same theme with the speaker covers in the rear, kind of looking like a Mercedes-Benz, looking really nice. And I just really like the way this overall interior looks. They just did a good job wrapping this whole thing together. Taking a look at these buttons here on the side, so we have obviously our lane departure assist, we have our traction control, and then we actually have our illumination button, which if you turn this up or down, it'll basically turn up or down the brightness of the lights in here, which is pretty cool. Going over some safety features of the Kia K5, this thing is really safe. It has 9 airbags all the way around, collision avoidance system front and rear and on the sides. You have lane departure assist. You have the little things on the side right here that tell you if there's blind spot monitors and, you know, all sorts of crazy cool stuff, and all this stuff comes standard on the Kia K5. It's not stuff that you have to pay extra for. It just comes with the car, which is why this car is really a bargain for a starting price of 24 grand. I mean, you get a lot out of this Kia for just 24 grand. I think if you wanted to get this amount out of a Toyota or a Honda, you would be spending more like 30, 35 grand. So this car is definitely a bargain for what you get, and it actually has a lot of leading edges over the Toyota and Honda competitors. And right down here, we also have our trunk release button. Let's press that. And even when you press this button right here, it feels nice. It feels quality. It's a constant theme that goes throughout the whole car. Very nice. So let's check out the trunk right here. And as you can see, the trunk automatically lifts up for us. We don't have to do anything here. And take a look at this trunk. I mean, this thing is huge in here. I mean, we got a lot of room. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to kind of hop in here. All right. Oh, gosh. And look at this. This thing is huge. So I could even probably fit another one of me in here. And I'm, 6 foot tall. I'm chilling in here like a villain. But definitely a lot of room to put as many, probably 5 or 6 huge bags in here. Enough to carry all the family's luggage wherever you need to go. So trunk room, definitely not an issue in this car. But now let's take a look at the spare tire, where we have, it's not a full-size spare, but it's kind of a donut, but hey, at least you get a spare tire in here, and it comes with a jack and a little roadside assistance kit. But pretty nice, pretty cool stuff. But let's close this back up, and I think now it's going to be a good time to take you guys on a drive with me in this car. And this car definitely performs pretty well for what it is. It definitely surprised me, so stay tuned. All right, so driving the Kia K5. And okay, so the first thing I want to start off with is when turning this thing from park into drive through the gear selector feels so good. It feels solid, it feels nice, it feels like a quality car. But taking this thing on a drive, all right, one of the first things I want to go over with you guys is the smoothness of this car. I mean, this car doesn't feel rugged or jiggity on the road or anything. Even going over bumps and imperfections of the road, the car feels smooth and it kind of just wafts right over. Now, we're not talking on the level of Mercedes E-Class or anything like that, but for what this car is, it's really nice. It's really smooth, and it's actually really impressive for the price point that this car is at. And another thing I wanted to go over is the handling on this car, turning this car from side to side. This isn't a sports car. It's not something that's going to, it's not sharp. It's not going to go whatever direction you want it to go, but it's still precise and it's smooth. It feels nice and it feels comfortable, and this car feels like something I would love to daily drive on a day-to-day basis. All right, so making a little U-turn right here. Let's see what kind of power this thing has. Yeah, this thing has pretty good power, man. Definitely pretty good power. Considering that this car only has 190 horsepower, the car really feels like it has a little bit more than that even. I mean, it's really peppy for what this car is. And considering the excellent gas mileage we're getting with this as well, it's a really crazy combination. But another thing I wanted to go over with you guys on this car is the interior cabin noise. I mean, when we're driving, just, going over bumps, pebbles, or anything like that, you really don't hear much road noise. You don't hear much engine noise here either. You hear a little bit of engine noise, but it's just enough to the point to where you want there to be a little bit because you want the engine to be present. It's not muted or anything like that, but it's definitely muffled to a point to where it's not in your face. It's a very comfortable environment to be in this cabin, and it's very impressive, quite frankly, how quiet this interior is. Because on a lot of these Toyota Camrys and Honda Accords, if you don't get them fully loaded, they're not going to be this quiet. They're going to be a lot more hollow. You're going to hear a lot more road noise, and considering that this car is like 7 to 10 grand cheaper than either of those cars would be fully loaded, this is a really good bargain, and this is a really good package for the price. But overall, I really think this car drives and handles great for what the car is, considering that this car is like $24,000, $25,000 brand new out the door. And I'm really impressed of how Kia does redesign this model from the previous Kia Optima to now what the Kia K5 is, because the Kia Optima inside is not even in the same stratosphere of what this K5 is. I mean, the interior quality of this car is such a level up from what the Kia Optima used to be. And I have to say that this Kia K5 overall really impressed me throughout my overall driving and experience of using this car. Is a 2021 Kia K5. Not only I got to give you guys a pretty comprehensive review of this car inside and out, but I also got to take you guys on a little drive. And let me tell you something, this car is a huge bang for the buck for what it's worth. But that being said, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the content, and be sure to watch my giveaway video and follow the instructions on there to be entered for a chance to win the $50 O'Reilly's gift card for my giveaway. But with that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next video. Cheers.